Welcome to Two Birds, One Stone 2023 NFL Draft Preview Edition. We are live in Kansas City, Missouri. Just made about a 3.5-hour drive up here. It wasn't too bad. We got here, tried to get set up. The plan was to do this on like one camera. We're like, oh, we have the technical capabilities to do this. We're not smart enough to do it, so we're doing it the same way we always do, in separate rooms, far away from each other.
Back to basic.
It's the way we like it. But we got a few things to talk about. A little bit of Kyler Murray statue talk that kind of blew up over the weekend. And then dive into, I've got tape on about 6 different prospects. A couple, if we stay at 3, trade back options, all that fun stuff. First, let's get an ad from our sponsor, SeatGeek. SeatGeek, there's plenty of options out there to go out and buy your tickets. No option is better than SeatGeek. If you use code VSN right now, you can get $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. That could be a baseball game, playoff hockey, playoff basketball, concert, any kind of live event like that. SeatGeek has you covered. Garrett, we're going to a baseball game at Busch Stadium next week. We should use SeatGeek. Save $20 right there.
$20 off. Code VSN. Very good deal.
Very good deal. So use them the next time you go to any type of ticketing event. Thank you to SeatGeek. Mentioned it before. Kyler got a statue in Oklahoma. I thought it looked kind of sick. I thought they did
that was going to be my first thing I was going to say. The statue, good. You see so many bad statues. Yeah, here's the pictures here. You see so many bad statues nowadays. That actually looks good.
I think from afar, I was like, I don't really know what's going on. It's not like a typical like Kyler, stance. But I think that when you look at it closely, that is he's got that long kind of release back there. I thought they did a pretty good job with it, honestly.
Is it common for colleges to I've never heard of this. I guess they call it like the Heisman yard or Heisman guard or something like that.
I know it's Oklahoma's done it forever. Sam Bradford's got one. Baker got his a couple years ago. But I think that's a very cool tradition.
Yeah, it's a very cool thing.
Lincoln Riley stays, Caleb stays. They get fucking a statue every 2 years there in Oklahoma with their quarterbacks in that system. But thought it was very cool. Initial thought, I seen it, I was like, that's awesome. Like, we've had so much bad press. We've got the whole like team leading, all the team leaders there. You got the GM, coaching staffs there, obviously Gannon, his offensive coordinator, teammates, Hollywood's there, CD Lamb, college teammate, Cody Ford. A bunch of guys were there to show support. And I was like, that's finally a good look for the Cardinals. And then, I don't know, a couple hours later, you get this article that starts going around the internet in a very bad way. The good thing about this is no one, I haven't found a single person that's agreed with him, but Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, he's been on the circuit for 20 years probably. Early internet days, started this blog, and he's done well for himself. But he claimed that the Cardinals were incompetent for spending their Saturday before the draft in Norman, Oklahoma, instead of busting tape and going over prospects and interviews every second of every day, 24/7. And everyone just kind of attacked him like, hey, man, it seems like a pretty normal, cool thing to do. But he doubled, tripled down. Like I said, it kind of makes you feel good that nobody really was on his side with the whole situation.
Yeah, I agree completely with what you said. I think it's just kind of cheap. I don't really get it. You know, how many months does a team or a war room spend prepping for the draft? And, you know, I can understand where he's coming from in a way, but it just is totally wrong. It doesn't make any sense. It's cool. It's cool to see. I would find it more of a story if no one came than if everyone came.
Absolutely. If it was the opposite,
it would be more of a story.
Kyler, nobody from the Cardinals organization shows up to Kyler's statue unveiling at Oklahoma. They would just find a way to flip it.
It just feels like every news story, like everything they do is just a lose-lose, no matter what. You know, if they do this, it's bad because of this. But if they would have done it the other way, then it would have been bad because of this. It's exhausting.
Overarching, a very dumb take, and the internet got him for it. I think the original tweet that he put out, he got ratioed by like 100 on the article. So there was nobody on his side, which, like I said, makes you feel good. But good on Gannon and everybody for making sure they were there for him. You got to do that. He's your biggest investment right now. Put everything behind him. So obviously moving on to the more draft stuff, things are like it's obviously smoke screen season was what everybody says. There's been jumps up to in terms of betting odds for the Cardinals. Forever it was Will Anderson, and then there's talk that the Texans are going to take Will Anderson. So then how do the Cardinals pivot? Are they going to trade back? Do they take Tyree Wilson? But the word the whole time is they're desperate to move the pick. The problem lately, it seems, is it doesn't seem like there's anybody willing to go up and get that pick. I don't know if it's because quarterback teams feel confident that they're going to slide to them. But as of right now, the betting favorite to be an Arizona Cardinal come tomorrow night is Paris Johnson Jr., left tackle out of Ohio State. We're going to get to more guys. What do you think about the idea, without diving too much into the actual prospects, because we'll get to that, the idea of taking a tackle there and pivoting off of one of these edge rushers?
There's one guy who I would take at 3. And we'll talk about that later. But there's one guy in particular that I would take above anybody else to not trade back. And it's, well, I'll just spoil it, Will Anderson. You either take Will Anderson at 3 or you just go back. That's my only take. I'm completely fine with trading back because I think we could get good value. But there's one guy that I would take, and that's it.
Let's dive into Will Anderson then. Before we do that, I mean, I think just to touch on the idea of getting your tackle if you can't trade back. Like if the idea this whole time is to trade back and get one of these tackles, either Paris Johnson or Peter Skonorski. Sorry, it's Polish. He's a tackle out of Northwestern, second best tackle on most people's board. If that was your plan all along and you cannot find another partner, but you're dead set on protecting Kyler, I'm okay with it. That's my opinion. Let's talk about Will Anderson just a little bit. So we'll start with the options of staying put at 3. So obviously option 1 for most Cardinals fans is Will Anderson Jr., Alabama. We're going to show a little bit of his tape here. We've been talking about him for a long time. We talked about him in December after Kyler tore his ACL. I think our tagline in our Twitter post was Will Anderson's going to look great in our new uniforms. New uniforms check. Will Anderson maybe next. He's got all the production. He's led the country in pressures, hits, sacks since he's been at a starter at Alabama by like a large margin. He's very good against the run. He's if there is any knock against him, it's that he's not Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa or another Von Miller, one of these freak, bendy, athletic pass rushers that's going to get you 20 sacks a year. He's very good against the run. He's a smart football player, and he can get you maybe 8 to 12 sacks a season. Are you okay with that at 3rd overall? I think so.
With how god-awful we've been against the run for the past couple of years, I mean, that could do nothing but help, in my opinion. And, I mean, you're seeing on his highlights now he still is definitely capable of rushing the passer and getting to the quarterback. It's a no-brainer. If Will Anderson is on the board and we still have the 3rd overall pick, it has to be him. I mean, just watching his tape now, it just has to be him.
He's a freak. I love, we'll talk about Tyree too, but this is against SEC offensive linemen, which is a huge factor apparently in how these guys view these edge rushing prospects. But last year, if he would have came out, this guy's probably going top 5, even last year. How we talk about Caleb Williams and some of these quarterbacks, people were talking about Will Anderson like that last year. Like next year, this guy's going to be right there at the top. I guess maybe his numbers were a little bit down compared to the year before, but I mean, he is a very small bust potential because you just got everything.
His floor is just so high.
Well, he's going to be a Hall of Famer or a multi-time All-Pro, who knows? But he's going to be a good player for you.
No matter what. I something else to add. I know that you were talking about the Myles Garrett and the Von Millers not being, he's maybe not quite the athlete there. I kind of disagree. I feel like he might be more the new age, like the next generation of your edge rushers. It seems like, over the years, they've all kind of shifted to be more speed, quick, athletic versus what they were in years past. To me, he looks like what the next generation of that is. Like, to me, I'd say back in like the 90s or early 2000s, that guy would be like an outside linebacker. Just physically looking at him, it looks like to me he's like the next step in this more athletic, quick edge rusher.
Well, it's almost like team by team, an edge rusher is a different position, which is a whole nother conversation. Like it depends on the type of defense you're running, what you need out of that guy, and he's just the most complete out of the next guy we're going to talk about, which is Tyree Wilson, who is about as polarizing as it gets amongst Cardinals fans. I did a mock draft Monday with the Cardinal Rule with Joe, and I had us trading back to 8 and taking him, and all the comments were like, boo, Tyree, boo, we don't like Tyree. I like him a lot more in a trade back, but it's very possible. I mean, the Texans are rumored to be interested in him at 2 overall. So if it goes Will Anderson and the Cardinals are dead set on one of these pass rushers, it's going to be Tyree Wilson, but I like him more in a trade back. I think if Will Anderson isn't in this class, a lot of people would be way higher on him in terms of Cardinals fans. He's almost like the complete opposite of Will Anderson, not in like a bad way. I mean, not that he's in everything Will is good at, he's bad at, but in terms of his floor is a lot lower. He's got a bad weight. He's played in Big 10 or Big 12 defenses who it's been 5 years, I think it said, since a Big 12 defensive player was taken in the top 10. So there's just not a whole lot of history at that position coming out of that conference.
Yeah, that's kind of part of my biggest concern. You know, which granted, not all prospects are gonna play against SEC defenses or offenses, but just kind of watching him now, I mean, all the viewers can see he looks long, which is something you want, but he just looks so skinny, and it's very. I just would have a hard time. Granted, I guess the only way that this would be a possibility of us selecting him is if Will Anderson was off the board. So if we get to that point, then maybe. But I've been in the camp of not high on this guy. It just seems like such a big risk because of just the way he looks physically and his competition. But your ceiling could be way higher than Will Anderson just because let's say this guy puts on 50 pounds after he gets drafted. It could be a freak.
Let's talk positives a little bit, because this is a guy that, I mean, it's him and Will Anderson that's been mocked to us the most this whole time. So you mentioned his frame. The lengthy frame, the way he plays and uses it almost reminds you of Chandler Jones to me.
Yeah.
When I watch. So, I mean, probably one of the best defenders in team history. I would sign up for that. I think his wingspan set like a record at the combine. Don't fact check that, but I think that is true. He's not fantastic against the run. You can see that being a little smaller. Adding on a little weight. Weight room never hurt anybody. Maybe help you get in there, get your nose in there a little bit more. But like I said, with Anderson, it's like you're drafting him because of what he's already done and what you can see doing. This is like a lot of these quarterbacks. This is like taking Anthony Richardson. This is like you're going to project what this guy can be. So
right.
I wouldn't hate it if we walked away with him. Maybe we move back to 6 or some shit. Maybe the Lions want Stroud, or I don't know. However it gets done, I'm okay in a trade back. If tomorrow, if Anderson goes 2 and we take him 3, I'm okay with that too. But if Anderson's on the board and we take him over that, it'll be a head scratcher. But we'll cross.
Right. I think I'm in for him in particular. I think to me, I would be happy if we got him on a trade back. I would not be happy if we took him with a 3rd, no matter the situation, even if Anderson was off the board.
Fair enough. Okay. Those are the 2 pass rushers. That's a premium position. That's something that most fans, okay, if you're picking that high, get a quarterback if you need one, a pass rusher, a left tackle, a premium position. Another premium position is corner, and there's 2 stud cornerbacks, and I can't decide which one I like more. It's probably a coin flip on most of the podcasts with like McShay, Daniel Jeremiah on which one goes first, but we'll start with Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. Went to Purdue or Colorado originally, then transferred to Oregon. He's 6'2", 201, very good tackler in open space. You can see that in some of these highlights. He can play a little bit in the slot. He ran a 4.38, a 41.5-inch vertical. His combine grade was 92, which is the highest of any cornerback in the class. So he's very athletic. He allowed a 74.7 passer rating and only 43% completion percentage when targeting. Good, 43%. I think out of the two, from what I have seen, there's not a big. I think if tomorrow, Devin Witherspoon is probably a better overall player, like ready to go right now. But Christian Gonzalez has some traits that Witherspoon doesn't necessarily have. I like them both because they're both aggressive and not afraid to stick their fucking face in it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think with Gonzalez, it's just more of I love a tall corner. I've always loved a tall corner. I don't know why it's like Elway with tall quarterbacks. I always love a tall corner. It just feels more secure, kind of with Pat Pete. How tall is Pat Pete? He was over 6 foot, right? He was probably around that range.
He's in that range, 6'2", 6'3", maybe.
Just a tall, solid corner, which here he looks like he could pack on weight, just like with the other guy we're just talking about.
Yeah, Tyree.
I'm blanking. Yeah, he looks like he could add some weight, but the cornerback position is my specialty. He's an athletic freak. I wouldn't be happy with this at 3 because cornerback is such a glaring need that we need that we like everything really is. But
I've seen a couple that's most at 3. I know I've seen one. I won't say a couple, but I have seen one. Like I think it was CBS. They had Christian Gonzalez to 3 at 3.
I would prefer one of the two corners at 3 over Tyree.
Okay,
I think.
Fair enough.
Just because it's such a glaring need.
Let's watch a little Witherspoon here. I fucking love watching. Like he reminds me of A-Dub at corner. Like he is as good as I said Gonzalez was attacking the ball carrier, like in open space. He's not only like solid, he will fucking light you up. Like
I love his aggressiveness. I love his. I feel like especially if things don't bounce our way with Budda Baker and we lose him, that's like one of his main responsibilities on the defense is being that aggressive, tough-nosed guy. And if we lose that, we're gonna have to have somebody else step up. So, which I think we get a little bit of both of that in both of these guys. But it seems like with Witherspoon, he brings just a little bit more. But to me, I prefer Gonzalez. He seems to be more of a well-rounded type guy, a little bit more athletic, but still has that hard edge to him, just like Witherspoon here does. I think I'd go Gonzalez over Witherspoon, but I don't think you go wrong with either.
Hit stick.
I really don't think you go wrong with either one. I think that we're in desperate need of a 10-plus year corner, like a 10-year corner on the team. And I really think one of these two guys could be it.
Especially in a trade back. Let's say you pick
in a trade back, 100%. Oh, 100%. I prefer I think in either situation, even at 3 or in a trade back, I prefer both of these guys over Tyree.
That's fair. I like these might be my favorite 2 players in the draft.
Yeah.
They just happen to play the same position. So you're looking at from anywhere from 5 to 12 for both of these guys. They're going to go, like I said, flip of the coin, who knows, but they're both very good players. I think both are kind of consensus top 6 guys in the draft, regardless of position. So,
yeah.
One of the last guys, another edge rusher. This is definitely a trade back situation. This is not someone you consider taking at 3. I've seen him as early as like 8 to the Falcons or as late as like 22, 23, like Vikings area. So he's a little all over the place, but it's Nolan Smith, edge rusher from Georgia. First off, no gloves, just tape on the wrist. That's badass.
That's one point.
That's one of my favorite things that a football player can do nowadays. He's 6'2", 238, so he's a little small playing on the line like that for this position. He was the number 1 overall player, the class of 19 high school recruiting class, ended up at Georgia. He's very smart. He was a team captain. Like I heard the highest character of anybody in this class, like very representable. Like I said, a captain, like in a rebuild, these are the kind of guys that you want to go get. He's very athletic. He had the highest grade. He was the highest graded edge rush prospect at the combine. He ran a 4.39 40.
That's insane.
These guys are just turning into fucking mutants as time
That's so insane. A 4.3. That's so insane.
But he plays
edge rusher.
Yeah, he plays very hard. He's small, athletic. He's as someone that size, like smaller like that, you think, okay, he's probably better rushing the passer. He's probably quick around those big tackles. No, they say he's a better run defender than what he is a pass rusher, and that just shows you the kind of like fucking grit and that he's got if he's able to get in there and stick his nose in there.
And I hate to keep on alluding to Budda Baker, but again, it's kind of the same story with him. He's a smaller safety, and he has that grit, has that toughness. I don't think you can have enough guys like that in your locker room. Yeah. You know, I definitely wouldn't be comfortable with him at 3, you know, obviously, but in a trade back, I think, you know, I think I would prefer him over Tyree Wilson.
Look how small he is and watch him bully this Clemson left tackle.
I mean, yeah.
Just keeps pushing it. Like, I'm trying to like look at these a little closer, but like
you can't get enough guys like this in your locker room. Like, this is what you want.
I'd really much enjoy him.
I would prefer him over that Tyree cat.
Interesting. That's interesting.
In a trade back situation. This guy, which I don't know if this is wrong of me to think, but the whole SEC means so much to me whenever it comes to draft picks.
That's not fake. Like,
it means a lot to me. Seeing him do that to a Clemson left tackle is insane. You know, it's Clemson. It's a top 5 program in the country. SEC means a lot to me. I think in a trade, to me, it just doesn't. I guess possible suitors for a trade back include who? Obviously, Indy.
Not really even.
Not anymore.
I think that's shifted. I think we're looking from 7 to 12. It starts with Raiders at 7. Maybe they go up and get one of these quarterbacks. 8, Falcons. They seem content with Desmond Ridder. And then 11 with the Titans. And Texans is the new big one. So the word on the street now is Texans take Anderson 2, or they take Wilson, whatever defender they like more, and then they just come back up. I don't know if it's with the Cardinals. I mean, it makes sense if they want to come up and get a quarterback ahead of the Colts. Let's say that they want Anderson, but they really like Levis, and Levis has been heavy linked to Indy this whole time. Let's say, you know what, we've kept this really under wraps, but fuck CJ Stroud, fuck Anthony Richardson. I want Will Levis. We're gonna move up to 3 back to back. Could you imagine walking away with a quarterback and Will Anderson? If you're a Texans fan, that's chef's kiss dream scenario. But for the Cardinals, it makes sense because you would get pick 12 in a trade back. You'd get the first pick in the second round, probably a 4th, 5th, and then a 2nd next year. Like, the compensation is there. They have the picks to do it.
Right.
On how aggressive these teams want to be. So
right. If honestly though, if I were the Texans, take Will Anderson at 2, and then just
one of these guys
trade up and do anything else.
Anthony Richardson might fall in your lap. Will Levis might do the same thing. So
not even that. Take Will Anderson at 2. You said they have the 12th pick also?
12 and then 33. So first
pick the best player available at 12, and then just wait for Caleb Williams next year.
See, you can't bank on that. You can't count on – that's hope. Like, you have no idea. Like, they were sitting there all week with the first or all year with the first overall pick, and then they win one meaningless fucking game in the end, and then they're at 2, and now they miss out on the clear-cut top quarterback in this class. So it's not you. I read an article today, and it was like 3 rules, and they had whatever, and their quarterback one was take a quarterback until you have one. So like the Commanders at 16 or whoever, the Titans would have benefited from doing this in the past. If you don't have your quarterback that's going to be your quarterback in 5 years, then take one. If you like one or you have a 2nd round grade even take it while you can, because it's throwing darts anyway. So you might as well take shots. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. So that's a little aggressive. Obviously, you want to build other parts of your roster, but fucking, you don't know if you're going to be picking 2 again or this.
Right.
So I don't know. I think they should take Stroud, but that's just me. I want to talk a little bit about Paris Johnson, since we didn't really talk about the tackles much. And like I said, he's got the best odds right now to go number 3 overall. Named Anthony Muniz Offensive Lineman of the Year in high school, out of the high school in Cincinnati. He played in 5 games as a true freshman at Ohio State, including the title game against Alabama. 13. So he played right guard all of 2021, and then moved to left tackle in 2022. So that's good to have that flexibility, especially if you've got DJ Humphries locked in on the left tackle.
Right.
Beecham's locked in on the right. He was first team All Big Ten and second team All American. He's just Kyler, for one, that's a big part. Also has said that he wants the Cardinals to go after him. Let's listen to Kyler's track record so far. His first year, after his rookie year, he wanted CeeDee Lamb. They picked Isaiah Simmons. Looking back, probably would rather have CeeDee Lamb right now. The next year, he wanted Creed Humphrey, center from Oklahoma. They went with Collins, I guess it would have been. But that was even in the second round, and they passed. Creed Humphrey is an all-pro now. They wanted Tristan Wirfs also. I think that was the same year from CD. He pounded the table for Tristan Wirfs as well. He's also an all-pro player now. Kyler Murray is an elite offensive lineman scout.
He's got an eye.
He's seen it. And
he's got an eye.
So if he says he wants Paris Johnson, he's probably a Hall of Famer. So tomorrow it's Paris Johnson at 3. So be it.
I never have an issue with, especially now that we have our franchise guy coming off an injury. I don't think you'll ever see me complain about taking any kind of offensive lineman, high pick offensive lineman. It seems like offensive linemen, which this could be way off, are the most high draft picked offensive linemen are the most consistently good.
The best hit rate.
Best hit rate.
Do that. You know what all you have to do? Did they go to a Big Ten school? Yes. Okay, take them.
Yeah. Right.
That. Even more so than the SEC. Wisconsin, Iowa, Ohio State, fucking Michigan. That is just, you picture that and you picture just a fucking big, mean 77, eye black, the fucking beat up helmet, huge face, man. Like Big Ten football breeds awesome linemen. So I'm not complaining if he goes.
I won't complain with any offensive lineman taken in the first round. At 3, though,
it's high. It's high.
It depends.
You know what I think also is different? We haven't seen a high run on offensive linemen in a couple years, but it was routine. Like, it was a very normal thing throughout the for a tackle to go in the top 5. Like, there would be years where there's multiple. I think it's just been a couple years, so we think like, oh, that's too high. But I mean, it's like I said, quarterback, tackle, edge rusher, and corner. Those are the premier positions, and if you can go out and get one, fucking go get one.
Yeah, I agree. I think really what it's going to come down to is if we trade back or not. We have so many gaping holes and gaping needs. It's just going to be take the best player on the board.
Gaping holes. A dark horse scenario that I think people are overlooking is Minnesota. Like, I think Minnesota's about to do something fucking crazy. Go out and they're sick of Kirk Cousins shit.
You almost have to.
Last year, I think he's only got a year left on his deal. Go make a spot. I don't know if it's all the way up at 3, but let's say it is 3, and we jump back to, let's say we get the 23rd overall pick back. They can move up to 3. We get the next 2 years of first and second round picks. It's quite a haul, but that's moving up 20 spots. That's kind of probably in the ballpark. At that spot, you're looking at Will McDonald out of Iowa State, an edge rusher, behind Tyree Wilson and Will Anderson. I'd say I've seen stuff that has him higher than Nolan Smith. Very good player out of Iowa State. Joey Porter Jr. a corner, Penn State, former Cardinal, Joey Porter, his dad.
You remember an artifact we got from Joey Porter?
Yeah, Joey Porter gave me his glove after a game at the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis. So it was very nice. We were standing there behind the tunnel. No other people were over there because we're Cardinals fans and we're by the Cardinals tunnel. And we tried to walk down where the players were, and this guard was a dick. He was like, stop, hold it right there. And so we stopped. I was like, fuck. And then Porter comes walking through, and he's like saying something, and I didn't think he was talking to us. He keeps going, and the guard says, come down. So we come down, and he's like, Mr. Porter wanted me to give this to you. I was like, he said it like all smiley and happy. He's like, fuck you, dude. I could have went down there and got it myself if you weren't such a prick.
But Joey Porter, super nice guy. That'd be cool.
Joey Porter Jr. is a good player. Cool. He's a tier below those other two guys that we talked about earlier, but a good player nonetheless. John Michael Schmitz, center from Minnesota. That's another Big Ten offensive lineman. A lot of mocks have had him in the second round of the Cardinals. I don't know if he makes it that far, but I think after the fucking Rodney Hudson debacle, you can't fucking roll out Max Garcia. That's for sure. I think shoring up the middle of that offensive line would be fantastic as well. So those are a couple options if you move back to.
I think really just the main thing I ask is at 3, take the best player available, or if you trade back, just maximize what you can get. You know, I don't have any issue with trading back and stocking up on second round picks or maybe a third. You know, I don't have any issues with stocking up on picks. It's really just if Keim was still in the building, I would, just because of his track record.
Keim's still in the building. You fucking run the card up that says Will Anderson and you don't fuck with it. Like that's I wouldn't trust him to do anything else.
Right. Since we have this new GM in, you know, maybe give him some more picks, see what he can do. You know, I don't hate it. I think that you have, if you're not going to take one of the premier guys at 3, you trade back and maximize what you can get out of the pick. Because, I mean, if there's no one available at 3 that you think warrants it, then obviously why would you take it? Which just kind of goes without saying.
That's right. Okay. What else was I going to go through? Gosh, we went through the trades, blah, blah. DeAndre Hopkins. I think we should probably talk about additional picks that we might get without moving out of 3. There's been a couple, I don't know if it's heat kind of building up. Adam Pac-Man Jones is a regular on the Pat McAfee show now. I guess him and D-Hop are homies, or he's got some kind of source with DeAndre Hopkins, but it seems like as we inch closer, he kind of sprinkles in a little bit of information about him. So far, he said it's Chiefs or Bills is what it's down to, and he was either getting traded tonight or tomorrow. So it's tonight. It's 11:19 Central Time, so I haven't got a notification about it. So tomorrow it is. But I've seen a couple, like I said, the compensation's varied a lot, but it seems like it's kind of zeroing in on that third-round pick. For either one of those teams, it's going to be a late third. Something that I thought was interesting and maybe sweetens it up a little bit. Let's say that we get pick 91, which would be the Bills' third rounder. They pick 27th in the first round. Would you be okay with that third-round pick, and then we flop our second and their first? So basically we move up 7 spots back into the first, and we get a third-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It just sucks because sometimes I feel like the way players are valued is just so. I mean, how old is D-Hop? He's 30, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
he's 30.
It's just terrible because he's. I mean, this past year, it's with the injuries and suspension and stuff. It's been kind of a rough go, but I mean, at his last bit that we saw of him fully healthy and playing, there was no better receiver in the league. Maybe one or two. He's a top 3, top 5.
We had a great season when he was playing this year. Like he was playing great after he came back from suspension before he got hurt. But yeah, that'll be I'm not even going to get into Buddha. My fucking heart can't take it. But I did see PFF put out is this a realistic trade? And it was Buddha to the Jaguars for a 3rd-round pick this year and like a 6th-round pick. It's like, No, it's not actually. He's 27 years old, like a 3-time All-Pro already. Like no, that's not very realistic. You give me fucking 3 first-round picks and then we'll talk, which is obviously exaggeration, but he probably means that much to the Arizona Cardinals. So
it means that much to me, that I know.
A lot more than a 3 and a 6.
God, I can't handle that. That's tough.
But yeah, okay. So basically, a little bit more about the draft as a whole. First overall pick, it seems as a lock, is Bryce Young. His betting odds are like minus 16,000. So yeah, you'd have to bet a lot of money to make $1 there. And it really all starts at number 2. We've already kind of talked about it, that Texans could not take a quarterback. If they don't, it makes number 3 all the more valuable, which is kind of why it's a little slow right now, because how are we going to move that pick when other teams don't know what the fuck the Texans are doing? So it all kind of makes sense. It's kind of a waiting game right now. I mean, it'll make for fun television when we get to tomorrow night. That Bryce Young pick is in, and then the show's on right there at number 2.
So as of right now, is Stroud the favorite at 2, like quarterback wise, or is it Levis?
Or
Richardson?
I think fucking Levis. Because Levis to the Colts is like a very strong thing. Like people think that if he's there they're taking him. Stroud, if the Texans don't take him and no one's willing to come up to 3 with the Cardinals aren't going to take him. So it would go Young, Anderson, Paris Johnson, and then Colts. So probably Levis there, and then he falls in. It's Stroud, the Seahawks, the Lions are next. I could see the Lions maybe. They're not going to be in position, hopefully. I mean, the way that
you got Anthony Richardson too after that. Yeah,
Richardson is there too. That's why I'm saying Anthony Richardson might be there at 12. Like there's going to be a domino effect if the Texans end up going with Anderson. It'll be very interesting, to say the least. But
to me, I think Stroud personally is my number 2.
Like, well, I was about to get into like draft hot takes. Like I've been listening to like most people, a lot of podcasts this month. Since the Cardinals season started, because that's what we do as Cardinals fans. I don't think any of these quarterbacks are going to be worth a shit. That's my opinion. I think Bryce Young is the best out of any of them, but to me, he's undersized. He throws the football 55 yards. I think I could throw it 55 yards. He seems, they say, oh, he's small, but he never gets hurt. He missed games. He would have missed 3 weeks this season if Alabama didn't have a bye week. He got lucky and only had to miss 1. I look at him as a left-handed Tua, in my opinion, but that's Bryce Young. Will Anderson, I have notes on all these guys and why they're not very good. Will Levis, Mayo and coffee. That's fucking weird. He's a freak, but there's a Josh Rosen feel almost. You kind of get that vibe with him a little bit.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, too sloppy, too big of a risk. It's not going to pan out. They don't all pan out. CJ Stroud, I think, has the best shot, but he went to Ohio State, so quarterbacks never work from there. I think we're going to look back and be like, a lot of these teams reached. I think let's say Bryce Young does work out. I think after that, if 2 quarterbacks go in the top 5, I think most likely the following are all not franchise quarterbacks. None of these quarterbacks will get a second contract with their original team. That's my take.
I disagree about Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young will be good. I think he's going to be Pro Bowl level. I think Will Levis is going to be bad. I think Stroud could have like what's a comparable career to even? I'm trying to think of a comparison for him, like career-wise, who I think is going to end up like. I think Richardson's going to be junk. I'm not high on him. I just think there's just too much shit going on and too much stuff to fix, and too much to hone in. He has to land in a really, really good spot.
He needs to fall. He needs to just fall to the Vikings. They don't have to trade it. keep all their assets, and he can just sit there for a year or two.
I think a guy like him needs to be put in a really good spot. Like have a really good team around him.
All those
have
weapons,
a strong
Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, like
yeah,
they
I agree.
A decent spot.
I think that would be a good fit for him, but I think Bryce Young's going to be the real deal. I'm pretty confident in that. The whole undersized thing, we drafted Kyler Murray as our quarterback, and he's probably smaller in stature than he is.
He's not, though. He's thick.
He wasn't when he was drafted.
Yes, he was. He was
not
he was 207 coming out.
And what is he?
He weighed in at like 202, but he plays at like 190, 195.
I guarantee Kyler did not weigh 207 whenever he played at Oklahoma.
Look it up. Before we finish, another ad, this time from Bet Us, America's favorite sports book. You can bet on all sports, baseball, playoff basketball, playoff hockey, all the fun stuff. Get a 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,500 using promo code JOIN125. You can bet on the go. You've got fast payouts, live betting. You can claim your bonus now with JOIN125. That code right there gets you a sign-up bonus of up to $2,500. I'm sure they have lines on the draft tomorrow night. And we'll obviously be there. So we'll have live video reaction and all that fun stuff. But yeah, that was the draft preview. I'm looking forward to it. This is gonna be fun.
I'm excited to I think the atmosphere is gonna be like electric. I think it's gonna be fun.
Kansas City's a good football town.
I'm really excited to just kind of see. Obviously, you've watched the draft forever and ever on TV, but I'm excited to see it in person. See all the stuff you don't get to see on TV. I'm excited for. I guess you were talking on the way up about what exactly there's going to be due tomorrow during the day. I'm kind of curious to see kind of what the NFL puts on, as far as activity booths, maybe we run into
an event. There's going to be shit to do, that's for sure. But we'll document the whole thing. We'll be posting on Twitter all day, and so that's our draft preview. Share it with other Cardinals fans. Let's listen to this before the draft starts. Let's not listen to this this weekend afterwards, and we sound stupid for talking about all these guys, and we end up not picking any of them. So that would suck. But appreciate you listening. Like, subscribe. Look out for our draft vlog we've got coming out. We're working on that now. I think it's going to be fun. So thanks for hanging with us. Any last words, Garrett?
Peace out.
Peace out. All right. Go Birds.